Social media and email are the most common methods for phishing attacks and account hacking to clone fish. These ask for your personal information and phishing for data. Clone phishing is where the criminal will impersonate someone by gaining access to their account, for example, their email account. They can then convincingly impersonate you to your contacts, phishing for their personal information or tricking them, for example, into sending money. In order to avoid phishing and clone phishing, you should never give out information which could compromise your passwords, security question responses, itineraries, or personal data. So how easy is it to get hold of your personal data? Perhaps the following video will help answer that question. In a real-life experiment, a cafe told customers that they would receive a free coffee if they liked the cafe's Facebook page. When customers begin liking the page, the researchers are in a van outside and visiting the customers' Facebook profiles to see how much information they have visible for everyone to see.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Can I have a hot chocolate?
What's the name?
Joelle.
What was the name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new light for Damien. We have a new light for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook now.
I'm searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready for information on Damien?
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is He banks with
Hey, Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's the name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th of May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children, age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yep, got it.
Thank you.
Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know that?
Where did you go to UCL?
Martin, is this your mother's maiden name?
Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
How did you know?
That is interesting. I don't understand.
Oh, pardon?
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh, yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
What you can really see from this video is how important it is to monitor what you put on your social media. This is not just Facebook, it's also sites like Twitter and LinkedIn. If a criminal has successfully gained access to someone's account, they may contact you with information such as false bank details. We saw examples of this in the case studies we looked at. For this reason, you should never accept bank details that you receive in an email. And actually, a lot of businesses are now including disclaimers like this one at the bottom of their emails, which says that if you receive an email or phone call from them advising that their bank details have changed, you should not send any money to this new account. And that if their bank details do change, they would not notify you by email or cold call. How would you know if you received a phishing email? Be wary of emails which contain poor spelling or grammar, or they may threaten or put pressure on you to do something quickly. For example, they may say that you have 24 hours to reply. They may also prevent you from asking colleagues for information. For example, they may pose as someone that you know, and they could say something like, let's just keep this between us. It's highly confidential, so please don't discuss it with anyone. And this immediately puts you in a difficult position. As we mentioned earlier, they may ask you to click a link or open an attachment. Even if you're not sure, you should report it. You should always use an alternate contact method for the sender or the organization. Don't ring them using the contact number in the email they've just sent you. Find one that you had for them already. This is another example. The sender is posing as the finance director of the company and asking the employee to bypass the normal procedure because the request is urgent and confidential. Regardless of the sender or situation, you should always follow the set policies and procedures. A survey looking at scams found that 65% of victims of impersonation were due to social media or data breaches. The remaining 35% were largely due to phishing. 57% of this data was then used to apply for bank accounts or credit cards. There is another type of phishing, vishing, which is short for voice phishing. This is the same idea as phishing, that someone is trying to get information out of you, but is done via the phone rather than email or social media. For example, they might tell you they're ringing from Microsoft or IT support or even from KISS. They may request remote access to your machine. This is something that KISS support would request, but this is always via the site help.kiss.co.uk. So if the website address or method of connecting to your computer is different, you should hang up. They may ask you to go to a web address. That web address may download files to your computer or be used to gain access to your PC. They might ask you for your login details, such as your password, which KISS or Microsoft will never ask you for. Or they may ask you for some client or customer details. This is a screenshot from the NatWest online banking login. They mention phishing here. They say, never assume a phone call is genuine, regardless of the number that is displayed on your device, and especially if you aren't expecting the call. Their advice is to always check the number of the caller via a trusted source and call them back. The important thing is that you hang up on the person speaking to you and you call them back on a number that you've stored for them. For example, you have it saved in your phone or in an email that you've received previously or on their website. A really important thing is to make sure you've actually hung up the phone. I know this sounds silly, but one scam is that when you're on the phone to someone, you realize that something's not quite right, and you say that to them, and they say, okay, well, we'll hang up and then give us a call back. You will then hear a dialing tone, which makes it sound like they've hung up, and then you type the correct number into the phone, but without knowing you haven't hung up on the original call, and the criminal answers again. So make sure you've definitely hung up, and if you're not sure, use a different phone to call them back. One thing that you may be aware of and may have used when logging into different systems is something called multi-factor authentication, or MFA. This means that you are not just using your username and password to log into an application or website. There's an extra step involved as well. This is something you can activate, for example on your Facebook account, and is something that I have in place on my work email. So I'll put in my username, my password, and click login. Then you will receive either a text or a notification on your phone, or you may have to open an app on your phone, and this contains a code. You will then need to enter this code onto the website and click login. This means that even if someone gets hold of your username and your password, they still can't log into your account without having your mobile phone as well. Social media is a great tool for organizations, for example, marketing and advertising the work that you do. But as we saw in the previous examples, you must be careful with any information that you're making available publicly. What information can someone see by looking at your social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, or Twitter, and be aware what you're posting on social media sites? There have been instances where companies have posted about employees taking trips abroad or changes such as new accounting software, and criminals have taken advantage of this, such as posing as a staff member who is away or trying to get employees to bypass procedures while software is being updated. And it's not just social media. You should review the information that is displayed on your company website. If someone visits the site, how much information can they see about you and the work that's taking place within the business? If your work email account is hacked and you are the victim of phishing or clone phishing, your business contacts may be sent fake emails from your account. This puts your colleagues, clients, and customers at risk of losing money or opening harmful files. And this is why your password should be secure and not shared with anyone. Phishing is a very real threat, so make sure you know who you're speaking to. If needed, hang up and call back on a trusted number. Use different passwords on all different applications. We'll look at passwords in more detail shortly, but you can see the risk if someone gets hold of your password and uses this for phishing or clone phishing attacks. And if you are responsible for managing contact on your company's website or LinkedIn page, think about what you're posting. How could this information potentially be used by criminals?